A very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on the Monday edition of the show. Promises to be exciting as always. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
I'm Cecilia Morg, and we're starting the program with this news coming from the Super Falcons, where they are playing in the U.S. Summer Series. Super Falcons came back twice to defeat, they got a draw against Portugal 3-0. It was more like a win for the Falcons because they had to come back twice to be able to get that victory. So for the Falcons, to get that draw, for the Falcons, they got their first point in the U.S. Summer Series.
All right, so that's it. That's where we're starting. And, of course, let's quickly move on the show and also talk about Novak Djokovic, his 19th Grand Slam title, of course, hotly on the heels of Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer. And, of course, he's not stopping there. He's talking about a golden slam, the possibility of winning all titles, all major titles available in 2021. And he has done 2 already, the Olympics, and, of course, the 2 other Grand Slams. He says nothing is impossible. Okay,
he got 2 weeks to prepare for Wimbledon. We'll see if he can do that magic. Also on the program, yes, the Phoenix Suns swept the Denver Nuggets, but that didn't come easy for them. It was after Nikola Jokic was ejected before they were able to get that victory. So the Phoenix Suns are in the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2009 and 2010 season. And, of course, that's where we start off the show with this morning, talking about the NBA playoffs. And first, we'll bring you the results of what went down last night before we can talk about star match of the day, which is the Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Okay, yeah, starting off with the results from last night. I mean, what happened was that the Phoenix Suns, we'll start with the earlier game of the day that was played in late evenings on Sunday, which was the game between the Brooklyn Nets and, of course, Milwaukee Bucks. That game ended in favor of the Bucks. So the Bucks right now tied the series 2-2. And that was because of what Giannis Antetokounmpo had to do for that game. He posted a double-double to lead the team 107-96 in Game 4. So he got a game high of 34 points, 12 rebounds. And, of course, they were able to top the Nets. Now, the Nets in that particular game, Kyrie Irving left in the second quarter. But then before he left, he has put up some numbers. He had 11.5 rebounds and 2 assists in 17 minutes of action. And he was left with only KD, and he just couldn't do it alone. KD managed about 28 points on the night. But then the defensive style of play that the Bucks had to do was actually what prevented, KD from scoring more points. PJ Tucker, yes, he was definitely on him all night, so he couldn't even make much moves. So at the end of the day, he couldn't do it because Kyrie Irving is down. We know James Harden has got a hamstring. He has not been playing. So right now, the Nets are actually in trouble going into Game 5, where they will be playing at home.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I have high hopes for the Brooklyn Nets. And when it went 2-0 up, I was thinking, well, but Giannis, I always knew Giannis was going to have a thing or two to say about that. Now, we have a proper playoff on our hands. We'll see what happens. But it appears like the injury list piling up for Brooklyn Nets. But we'll see. It's still a very star-studded team. So they should be able to find a way.
Griffin and KD. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm talking about the star match of the day, which is, of course, we're waiting for the Phoenix Suns to sweep the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Phoenix Suns right now were the one responsible for the exit of the defending champions, talking about the LA Lakers. And Lakers and the Nuggets played in the Western Conference Finals last season. So right now, the Phoenix Suns, that's how good they are. They were able to take out the Denver Nuggets. A clean sweep, 4-1. Against the Lakers, it was 4-2. But against the Nuggets, we didn't see this coming because, when you have a Nikola Jokic, yes, you feel he can do everything. But then you can't put everything on a player like that because Jamal Murray immediately lost Jamal Murray to the end of the season. We know the playoffs was always going to be difficult. But this man you just saw right here, Chris Paul, he's dangerous. Okay, there you have the NBA
confirmation of the results.
Confirmation of what the results you just talked about. The Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, Suns winning the series of 4-0, 125 and 118. And for the Eastern Conference, you have, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks beating the Brooklyn Nets 107 and 96. So the Bucks even the series are 2-2. Okay, let's go back to the pictures we saw earlier about Chris Paul. We're going to talk about Chris Paul.
And Devin Booker later. For the first time since 2010, they were able to get to the conference finals. Very important for the Phoenix Suns. And, it's been a while I've seen, this is a whitewash. There's no way. There's no way to downplay what has gone. 4-0 straight away. I mean, no comebacks, nothing, no delay, straight away. And to think that a man who's already 36 could do some of the amazing things that Chris Paul did, it's remarkable. And on the strength of his performance, they've been able to get to the next round. And a lot of credit will go to Devin Booker as well. But a lot has been said about what Chris Paul put on the table to ensure that this happened, that there was no delay in getting into the conference final.
I mean, they knew what they needed to do, and of course, they just went ahead and did that, especially after, as I mentioned earlier, when Nikola Jokic was ejected. I mean, he wasn't happy about that. He had 22 points and 11 rebounds before he was ejected. But then, that was after the flagrant foul, you know, he had. You could see a picture of that flagrant foul he had, where he feels it wasn't a foul. But that actually made it very difficult for them. And of course, the Chris Paul, as you mentioned earlier, producing that vintage performance. 37 points. He's got the highest performance right there. Devin Booker put up 34 points and 11 rebounds. I mean, they're just the only team. I think, they happens to be the only team to be able to knock out the finalists of the Western Conference. I mean, that's since they started collecting stats, which when the NBA was expanded to about 16 teams, that's since 1984. So right now, the Phoenix Suns are not just making history, they're also playing so well. So, I mean, these guys will just wait for the matchup between the Clippers and, of course, the last Mavericks to end to see if they can maybe get to the finals of the NBA for the very first time in a long while. Let's take post-match reaction coming from the Phoenix Suns camp. Devin Booker and, of course, Chris Paul talking after the game.
Man, it's emotional, you know. Mont has been through things in his life, you know, that, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily come back from. You know, the mental stamina, who he is as a person, you know, basketball aside, he means so much to me and my family, you know, so to be on this journey with him and to see it paying off is nice. And we're a lot alike. We stay locked in. Like, I don't feel good until the buzzer sounds, and Mont's the same way. So, you know, when the series is over and the game is over, it's nice to share those moments.
Yeah, I mean, it's a feeling that's, you know, kind of hard to put to words. You know, you always reflect, you know, after a game like this, or after you close this series out, you sit back and reflect a little bit and think about what you just talked about, you know, what we've been through as an organization and as a team. And even the short time that Monty's been here, just, you know, watching the culture develop and watching, you know, players get better every day and people put their hard hats on and come in and work every day. So, you know, it's a beautiful sight to see, you know, to see hard work pay off.
All right, I mean, obviously they're excited over that, especially with what the coach has been able to do with them. And Devin Booker has been with the Suns for a very long time. I mean, he was drafted by them, and they stuck to him. And now the Suns are just reaping, you know, what he invested in. Okay, let's quickly talk about Nikola Jokic. Obviously, he wasn't happy that he was ejected. Maybe if he had been on court, maybe they would have maybe just get a game, and then it would have been 3-1, then wait for a game 5. But that wasn't to be because he was ejected after himself and Devin Booker have a little bit of fracas there. And, of course, he was asked to leave, and he had to finish watching the whole game from the locker room.
It's past, guys. So I thought I wanted to change the rhythm of the game. I wanted to give us some energy, maybe to change the whistle a little bit. So I tried to make a hard foul. Did I hit him? Did I hit him? Did I didn't hit him? We don't know. So I say sorry if I did, because I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't want to injure him or hit him in the head on purpose. So I watched the game in the locker room to cool off a little bit. So.
I feel his pain.
Yeah, I feel for him too. Yeah, it's painful.
You know, the Suns just ruined the party. You've just been named MVP, and on top of that, the team you're facing just gets swept off your feet. I feel for him, but you know, we've seen that NBA teams that want to win these days, you have to have 2, 3, maybe MVPs in your
course,
team.
in your team.
It's gone are the days where just
two is not even enough.
Two is not enough
see
these
what
days.
happened to the Lakers. I mean, we got AD injured, and then what happened?
If you had a fully functional LeBron and AD, maybe. It's a big maybe. But now one is, most of the time, two are not playing.
Oiled team.
You know.
That's what you need.
And even like the Brooklyn Nets that we are singing their praises, injury might just be their undoing.
Okay.
But I hope that doesn't get to be the case.
Okay, top performance. I mean, the guys who put up some numbers on the night. Yes, we could only just pick two because Devin Booker could have made it because of his performance for the Suns. But then Chris Paul, of course, you can rule that out. They had 37 points on the night, so he's making a top performance today. 37, 3, and 7. Now, whatever this guy has kept doing, he's working well. It's not just the focus of the team, but he's also putting up numbers on the night. He wanted to finish it off, and he did exactly that. And, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he had to do everything possible to ensure that his team, you know, tie the series to give them a chance of saying if they can get to the finals of the Eastern Conference. 34, 12, and 3 on the night. That's I mean, when you have a man like that, it's just anything is possible for him to achieve. We'll see what he can do. He's got 2 weeks to prepare for Wimbledon.
A few of his detractors, I'm very sure not everybody agrees, but a few of his detractors would always say, sometimes he doesn't sound gracious to his opponents. He's always talking about, but I think he helps him. Yeah. When he sets those targets, he does help him. Yep. I mean, for someone who has just displaced Rafael Nadal, you would think he would just enjoy the moment. He has moved on. Yeah. He has moved on. He's telling you, I want to win the three major titles left. And, I mean, talking about passion, talking about drive, this man surely has it.
He surely has it. So we're halfway through now. He has won the 2 Grand Slams of the year. So for the second time in 6 years, he may just be winning all 4 Grand Slams. And, of course, he wants to add the Olympics to it. That's his target right now. So we'll see if Djokovic will be able to do that. Now, he's got 19 Grand Slams right now. Roger Federer and, of course, Rafael Nadal, they've got 20 each. So Wimbledon is 2 weeks from now.
He's hot on their heels.
Rafael Nadal is fatigued. He's tired. Yes, he's fatigued. But then Roger Federer, who decides to withdraw and, of course, go rest. We'll see what he can do at Wimbledon. But then just take a look at what it's like now. Now, the 3 active players, of course, the only players that are active are
the top 3 are active. The other ones,
I mean, they've retired.
He's going to remain like that.
It simply means that Novak Djokovic may just have up to 24 Grand Slams before he retires. I won't put that past him. I wouldn't put it past him. I just have up to 24. I mean, that Margaret Court all-time record when it comes to men and women.
I agree with you. A lot of us thought Rafael Nadal's best chance to go past Roger Federer was at this French Open. Because on any other surface, it's hard to beat Djokovic. Now Djokovic has beaten him on clay. Yeah. It's going to be hard to see any other person. And I like what he said. He said, you're talking about the next gen. We have redefined the next gen. He says, me, Rafa, and Roger are actually the next gen, not these boys. Okay. Don't worry, Tsitsipas is 22, and of course... has a lot of time on his hands.
Has a lot of time on his hands. So Djokovic can't be there forever, so obviously we have the next gen. Let's leave tennis, and we have time quickly before going to break. Talk about what's happening right here in Lagos. Kamaru Usman, he's been talking about coming home. I mean, we've talked to him on this program 2 or 3 times, you know, talking about the fact that he wants to be home. Now, when he came, before, you know, he actually went to Agege, to, you know, went to an orphanage home where he had to distribute foods and different items to kids. And most of these kids actually said that they know him. Yeah. That they do know him.
Kamaru surely has a big heart.
I mean, I was surprised when you can have like a 8-year-old from the orphanage saying that, this Kamaru is my UFC fan. How did you even know about UFC?
He has a big heart. You know, some will say he didn't need to do this. And even if he did, he didn't need to show up. Yeah. He did all of those things and he still showed up. And it's amazing. I like when people like this give back to the society. They understand where they're coming from, and it's very good. We'll talk more about Kamaru Usman later on the show. We'll also talk about Israel Adesanya, what he's been able to do. But we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we hear from Kamaru Usman. We'll talk about Israel Adesanya, and we'll talk about every other thing in between Copa America and, of course, the Euros. But that'll be after this break.
Welcome back, all right. We have a guest in the studio, all right. Oluwadamiloju Saliu. Good morning, it's good to have you. Sport journalist, City FM.
It's good to be back, Cecilia. You look absolutely amazing, and hear me. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, I was almost tempted to say Happy New Year, but I've seen you this year.
No, we've seen this here. We've seen this here.
That would have been ridiculous. Yes, we were talking about, Kamaru Usman. He's in Lagos. Okay, I didn't see you yesterday at the press conference. All right, I saw your colleagues.
Yeah.
All that, because they wanted to meet the champ. After seeing him, like, from TV, everyone wanted to meet him. He was at Cement at Agege, yesterday, visiting kids. And before that, talked about he had to, have a press conference in Lagos, talking about the things he came to do. He's not just here to kind of, let's just say, okay, he just came. But he came here to do major projects. Okay, we're still seeing pictures, coming from him when he went to see some of these kids. And we're surprised that some of these children actually know him. I
know him so well.
They know him so well. So it simply means followership of UFC in Nigeria is big and huge.
Yeah, it's funny because we talked about this early in the morning at my own radio station, and it's interesting because even a lot of Nigerians who don't necessarily follow too much sports, of course, we know that when the Super Eagles are playing at the World Cup, everybody seems to always be excited. But it seems Kamaru Usman and Israel Adesanya have really made UFC extremely popular here in Nigeria, because even those who don't understand the rudiments of the sport and some that might have certain reservations, the fact that we have Nigerians doing amazingly well and have belts, they're super excited. So I'm not shocked whatsoever that these kids actually know who Kamaru Usman is and they're excited to meet him.
They're excited. And of course, before he went to visit them, the humility, that was all about it, where he had to start sharing the food himself, giving them everything they need was really awesome. And before he did this, it was actually at the government house, earlier in the day where he visited the governor. And before that, he met with the media, talking about his project. The reason, that's the press conference there, where he met with the media talking about his project, the reason why he is home. And that's why it's a tag homecoming. I mean, he's not been home for like 20 years. So this is the first time he's coming home, for the first time in 20 years since he left for the US, went to school from there, entered the UFC. So let's listen to him talking about, how excited he is because of the followership that UFC have actually gained in Nigeria.
Thank you guys for all the years of support. It wasn't until my third fight that I realized that Nigerians can actually watch this. Because in America, we have to pay. If you want to watch this, we have to pay for these fights. And when I got into sports, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to get to where I was going to get to. I just believed and I trusted myself in getting there. But by the time I got here, I realized that there's a big and a great responsibility to be able to share myself, my knowledge, my insight in any way with the rest of the Nigerians that are going to see that. And they're going to say they want to take on the same journey and be able to help them. So I know I have a great responsibility. I don't take it for granted. And I would do everything that I can in my power to be able to help.
All right.
All right, we have details of other interviews tomorrow, because it's got a lot to say, concerning the promotion of UFC and the reason why it's really here in the country.
I have an interesting question for Damloju.
Okay.
And it came to my mind. Do you think because we now have Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, parents, especially women, has this changed their perception about boxing, combat sports? I mean, now that we have Nigerian champs, do you think that in any way will sway, especially women, to leave their boys and go into combat sports?
Not just their boys, their girls.
Girls too.
I mean, we don't have any Nigerian yet, but we know that a few UFC ladies are doing amazingly well.
There is a Nigerian right now in the UFC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think for your question, it hasn't changed the perception, but the perception is changing.
Okay.
I've had a few discussions, and it's not seen with so much bad light anymore. It's not a taboo anymore.
Like 10, 20 years ago.
Exactly. Some parents are a little more open to the idea. So you can broach the topic now. I'm sure a few years ago, you couldn't even remotely mention that, you want to go and be fighting. Is that what we paid? You're not a good child. That's not why you are brought to this world, to go and be fighting. That's not a profession for you. But now, they've seen the fact that, I think I saw a picture, was it a year or two ago, when Israel Adesanya won a particular bout, and then he prostrated for his parents. His parents were there at the octagon, and then you could see the smile on his father's face. I'm so sure that wouldn't have been possible some 20 years years ago. So the fact that we're seeing Nigerians not just do it, but do it well, do it successfully, and then with all the safety measures that is put in the UFC, I think a lot of parents now understand that, okay, this could be a possibility. The question they now start asking is, how do you want to do it and ensure that you are going to be safe?
All right. All right.
Okay. All right, more of that, of course, on our program, especially tomorrow. We'll have more coming from Kamaru Usman. Let's leave that and quickly talk about Israel Adesanya. I mean, the last style bender, he defeated the Italian challenger who has been talking tough. I mean, he just made noise and he couldn't do anything. Marvin Vettori, the UFC 263, 263, so... It was a packed arena. I'm sorry I had to use that word because it's like the hype, the talk, and everything. And when it got there, he was even saying that he won. I'm like, come on, we all watched the fight.
He wasn't gracious. He didn't accept. And Israel Adesanya says that's what baffles him. I've beaten you twice now. And there are fights that I've lost in times past that were close. Some people said I win. I didn't come out to say I won. I accepted. Now I've beaten you twice. But you're here in local parlance, still running your mouth, actually, that I didn't win.
I think this draws a lot of similarity to what happened the first bout between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury that was called a draw, and then Deontay Wilder was adamant that he actually won, that he was robbed, and then we saw what happened in the rematch round 7, and then it was all down. Even that one when he steamed through in the towel, he felt like they shortchanged him.
Yes, so he's going for a trilogy.
Exactly.
So Vettori is going for a trilogy, right?
No, I mean for Vettori, the first bout in 2018, which was Adesanya's second ever fight in the UFC, it was very close. It was very close, and then that one, the bout that we saw over the weekend, aside from the first round, Adesanya was pretty much comfortable the rest of the fight, and then, of course, it was a unanimous decision. So I think for Vettori, he's just a sore loser. He has talked a lot more than the action that he brought. He beat more than he could chew, and of course, Adesanya will rub it in your face. He was very sarcastic about it, saying, if that's what makes you sleep at night, claim in your mind that you won. But we saw the scorecard, we saw who still has the belt, and I'm just happy for him. After that loss to Blažević, in his division, he's still unbeaten.
He's still unbeaten. I mean, 10 straight win in the middleweight. Vettori was on a 5 fights a winning streak, but then it's all over for him. And for this one, it becomes, I mean, he's joining Kamaru Usman. Those players, those fighters have been able to successfully, defend their titles 4 times, which is really a great one.
And being seen by many as the undisputed king.
Of course.
Because it takes a lot
middleweight division
to give an opponent a second crack at you. Most wouldn't do that.
No. A lot wouldn't, especially if it was an opponent that you had a bit of
close shave
with. It's easier to maybe if you knock someone out in the first 2 or 3 rounds to easily allow him to come back and have a bite at the cherry. But especially when it was so close, it went the distance. And this went the distance. Now, let's take nothing away from Vettori. It wasn't like he was absolutely hammered in the octagon. But like we say here, you should know. Everybody cuts clothes according to their size.
Should get size.
Out of his league.
All right. According to the material. Okay, according to your material. 3 times he's been able to defend his titles. Kamaru Usman also has done that. You have other ladies that have done that. Apart from the 2 Nigerians, I have Amanda Nunes, Valentina, Shevchenko. Yeah, they're the only ones that have been able to defend their titles 3 times. That's massive. Okay, we'll leave UFC combat sports and quickly talk about Team Nigeria. I mean, when she was here, she talked about the fact that they're going for the Fed Cup, which is now the Billie Jean Cup, which is a World Cup of tennis. She talked about that she's hoping that they can go. So we're not too sure. But right now, Nigeria will be participating in that World Cup of tennis. So you have Adesanya, she's there, Sarah Adekoke, Oyinlomo Quadri. They will be representing Nigeria at that particular event. So we're starting June 15th, which is tomorrow. So this is a great one because we want things like this to really happen. To be sure that, yes, these girls are not just playing tennis for fun. They're playing it professionally and also, I mean, at the world stage.
I'm absolutely excited. I mean, we were at the Ladies in Sports conference, and then we saw her there, and then you could tell that, even from the interview that she had here a few weeks back, that she really wants to be out there on tour, rubbing shoulders with some of the best players. I mean, at her age, the likes of Corey Goff and other amazing stars had already been playing regular games on the WTA tour. So this is very fantastic. Let's know, okay, she is the best female tennis player in Nigeria. Let's see how well she can do against our counterparts from across the world.
Let's see. We just wish them all the best. Of course, come back home, well, fine colours, whatever happens. But then we know that, yes, this is good. This is good news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to our next spot of call. Doesn't come as a surprise anyway.
Okay.
A lot of people...
Yemi, over to you, please.
A lot of people knew this was going to happen. Well, let's just say the way has been given to us. The board of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria has been dissolved upon the expiration of his term, and this was announced
by the sports ministry.
Yes. So, and they insist that the tenure of the board has expired. They quoted the particular section that I wanted to read. It's a pursuant to Article 10.4 of the 2017 Constitution of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria. The ministry hereby dissolved the board of the AFN. Continuing, the Ministry of Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports and Development understands that the AFN will hold an elective congress on Monday, June 14. That's today.
Okay. All right.
We can just wait for what happens from the Congress to know what's going forward, because we've had a lot.
And the key actors have suffered
around the AFN. I just want a situation where we can look past all the fracas and talk about athletics.
Yeah, talking about looking past and talking about athletics, we're going to be having the national trials and invitational relays starting from 16th to 21st. So 16th arrival, 17th, that's when it will start, the end 21st. So last chance for Nigeria to qualify for the relay race. And of course, MOC Grand Prix also will be organizing another relays invitational also to see how Nigerians can actually qualify. And that's what we want to talk about when it starts.
And for everybody, for anyone who has not qualified, that's probably your last chance. And if you don't show up, according to what we hear, if you don't show up, that's it.
That's it for you. So that of MOC will be 26th to 27th, just 2 days a weekend. Of course, while the one of AFN will be from 17th to 21st. So opportunities for athletes who haven't qualified for the Olympics to pick a ticket. Olympics is starting June 23rd. Yes, that's the main story for today. And not the AFL.
Okay, by Cecilia's definition. All stories are stories, but that's Cecilia's definition. All right, so we move on and talk about the ladies. We have to go to the ladies and talk about the Super Falcons.
Yes.
And I'm interested in listening to them later, but I want Cecilia to set the ball rolling. Let's take a look at the results first.
Okay, the results coming from the WNTA Summer Series. I'm talking about what's going on in the U.S. right now. Just confirmation of the result. The U.S., of course, beating Jamaica 4-0. I'm like, Kali Lloyd, come on, girl, what are you doing? She just keeps scoring. But Nigeria and Portugal will be our focus. Nigeria draw in they lost the first game. Okay, but the second one, Portugal, they're scoring twice inside 34 minutes. But then Super Falcons pulling one back just before halftime. And then Nigeria just went gun blazing, scoring twice.
Let me put Cecilia on the spot. We had a private conversation. I'll bring it out to the open. She says it didn't feel like a draw because they fought back. You know,
I heard that.
We were preparing for the show and we were talking about the headlines and everything. I said, it's a stalemate. She said, no, is it really a stalemate? I said, look, if you come back from 20 goals, I don't care. Stalemate. I don't know if you share a view.
I don't. I absolutely do not. See, I have this theory that if you were trailing, maybe if you were losing by 3 goals to nothing, and you end up rallying back to draw 3-3, it was fantastic that you came back to draw, but why were you trailing by 3 in the first place?
That's the first question.
So, okay, now, maybe I can answer some of the questions, because Asisa Toshola, for instance, arrived at US camp on Saturday night. On B2 or Saturday afternoon. Some of the players came in so late. And so for you to, you're coming from Europe to the US, we know the hours, 14, maybe close to...
Over 10 hours.
Over 10 hours flight.
Places, 8
hours or thereabouts flight that you have to travel. And then you're playing the next day. I mean, it's... So I just feel maybe fatigue
that
in that
has been
first
said
half.
in defense of the team.
Yeah, then in second half, if you check, they gradually grew into the game, and that's how. So that's what I think, because
at halftime we're training 2-1. We're training 2-1 at halftime
because they got the second goal almost
the goal that half the deficit. I think around the 44th minute, and then we went on early on in the second half before the hour mark. We conceded a third goal. So I like the fact that there was a lot of resilience, and then the girls were able to get a draw. But it's a worrying sign. First of all, the game against Jamaica wasn't a good one. And then the fact that we went 3-1 down, despite, even if we have some of these, if there's jet lag and then the players didn't resume on time, at 2-1 at halftime, the next goal should have been ours. In the early hours of the second half, we were very jittery, and then it felt like we were ready to capitulate. So good one for the girls. Rashida Tajibadi spared our blushes in the final seconds of the game, because if we didn't get that equalizing goal, it would be a totally different ball game. So no, it didn't feel like a win. It felt like we just snatched draws out of the hands of defeat.
I'll stay in your middle, stalemate.
Okay,
not a win, not a loss.
The reactions the reactions from the locker room. After the game is quite interesting.
really proud of you guys and the fight that you had and the way you stayed in the game and come back. Being down 2 goals 2 or 3 different times, or at least the 2 times in the game that we were down 2 goals, that's a very difficult task to come back. And you stayed on it and you kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Is there a lot to work on? Absolutely, and we'll continue that. But right now, this is something that's going to build and make us better, to show against a very good team that we can fight back and come back, and that we're always in the game to the last whistle.
I'm proud of everyone here. We all know the difficulties we all went through to get to this place. And I'm not talking about the journey so far. I'm talking about coming from club side to this place. It's a long flight, it's a long journey. And everyone, this is sacrifice. And this is what we have to do sometimes. All right? I'm proud of everybody. 2 goals down, first half, 2-1, 3-2. And we came back. 88 minutes, 3-2. 5 minutes. It's like 90 minutes. And we did it. So I'm just going to say is this is just the beginning.
So much potential, guys.
Yeah, we have so much in this team. We don't even know what we have. But people out there, they keep cheering us, but we don't know why they're cheering us. We were down 3-2, but people were still cheering us when we had the ball. Because we kept on pushing. This is the spirit. So, yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's the spirit of a Champions League winner. Yeah, fresh from winning the UEFA Champions League.
Treble winner.
Treble winner. The Super Cup, the league title, and of course the Champions League. You can see the spirit. She was able to do that. At a point, she started defending. I mean, she needed to do that because they didn't want to concede more goals. She was everywhere. I mean, and she's the captain of the team. So
what do you expect from the last game?
Against US. I will discuss that last game next time because Khalilo is still sorry. We'll discuss the last game when they're about to play. Yeah, we'll have time for that discussion, right? So let's leave the game against US for now.
Okay, and move on the show. And take a look. Take a look at the results. There were some skirmishes. Damile Sali will talk to us about some of this, and it's beginning to become frequent these days. But let's take a look at the results quickly. Nigeria Professional Football League, we see the results. Nasarawa United, a lot of good things being said about Nasarawa United these days. Defeated Plateau United 2-0, Katsina United defeated Imba 3-1, Adamawa United defeated Rivers United 2-0, Heartland defeated Jigawa Golden Stars 2-1, Wiki Tourist defeated FC Ifeanyi 4-3. These are some of the results over the weekend, match day 27. We'll see some of the results as well. And of note is the game that got everybody talking.
Okay.
There you have it on your screen. But we need to go on a break.
Ended goalless.
Yes. Okay. Kano Pillars, Aqua United. We'll talk about the circumstances surrounding, but we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we get Damiloju Saliu's thought and see if we can talk about the Euros and Copa America when we return from this break. All right, welcome back. All right, so we're on the home stretch, but Sally, your thoughts. Many stories around some of the games.
Of course, I mean, Kano Pillars has to be where we talk about it. I'm not happy at all because, according to reports we got, fans made their way onto the field of play.
That was after?
After a goal was ruled out for offside. The referee, the referee said it was a goal. The linesman said it wasn't, and then after consulting with the linesman, it was said that it was not a goal, and then fans made it onto the field of play. And we know we have a pandemic. Fans are not meant to be at the stadium at all. So that is my first issue, the fact that fans are there. The second issue is the fact that, okay, even if fans are there, which I am condemning, which is wrong, why do you have to make it onto the field of play? Even if you felt that it was a credible goal that was disallowed, we do not condone fans encroaching onto the field of play.
You know, ironically, the game is not even being played in Kano.
Do you understand?
It's in Kaduna. So I keep asking myself the question, what is the problem?
Why are we having this?
Do fans travel to come cause trouble? Because there's a decision was made, and well, the game was abandoned at the end of the day, and early as of this morning, it ended. So it ended goalless still. Okay, I don't know what LMC is going to do about this, but maybe someone needs to come out to actually make a decision. Because I remember when Shehu Duku was talking, he says that, look, it's left for the state to know if they want to allow fans to the stadium or not. But I think they need to come out and make a statement if they want to be playing games behind closed doors. Because NNL is happening, And now, I mean, NPFL is happening. It's
Yeah.
not the first time. We saw the game against Kano Pillars also. There was another game that they played,
Yeah.
you know, that of course fans also, although there was no trouble. But let's just hope
It makes
ends
you,
now.
yeah,
And
it makes you want to ask who is actually in charge. But that's not something we can do right now because of time.
There's so
But
many
some of these
questions.
things, instead of us talking about the results, beautiful goals,
yeah, especially Sunshine Stars, who we thought had, you know, after that woeful
Turnaround.
run, and then they had a
turned the corner.
turnaround,
Then
and then
they're
now,
back on the corner.
I mean,
On
Rangers
the-
just put them where they belong, 4-1.
It's-
I'm like,
it's-
and
those
the
are the
Ghana went away
things-
from home.
those
to
are the
win.
things we should
The
be
things
talking
we
Victorious
really
game
want
that
to
had
talk about.
7 goals.
7 goals.
Yeah,
Talk
we should
about,
talk
Yeah,
about,
against
unfortunately.
Ifeanyimba,
Yeah.
I mean, 7 goals, 3. Like, that's what we should be talking about.
But
Wicked
now-
Tourists have been woeful, and now they're turning it around against Ifeanyimba. So these are what we want to talk to. We
right.
don't want, I mean, fans' trouble dominating our discussion. I hope the midweek games and then
we are not going to have
we're
this,
not
hopefully.
going to have, hopefully. Fans, please, I mean, games are meant to, you know, you're meant to lose.
be
You win some, you lose some, no matter what the referee is doing. Do not do anything because your team will definitely suffer for it at the end of the day.
All right.
Maybe more sanction, harsher sanctions.
That's it,
Stiffer.
harsher
Your
sanctions.
team should not even play in the north. Maybe they'll come to Bayelsa, for instance. Imagine you're having a Kano Pillars coming to Bayelsa, is playing all their home
Start
games.
with points
I'm
deduction.
sure.
By the time 1 or 2 people get
Yeah,
relegated
I'm
or
sure.
fight
Maybe they
relegation,
need
they will
to
understand.
Maybe they need to.
And this was
check-
an
this was-
example,
yeah.
something that
Insurance,
happened
I mean.
earlier. You
That's
know,
in NNL.
in NNL,
Insurance and
and we're
Rebel
having
Stars,
it
like
a
players
plenty.
jumping the fence.
It's
Please,
really a
let's
sad
leave
story.
that picture. I don't want to see it.
Let's go to the Euros,
Euros,
where,
yeah,
where you
quickly.
see football that makes you smile. Let's take a look at Sunday results and today's matches. We quickly, unfortunately, we don't have so much time, but Damloju will do his best for us. Let's take a look at the results. I was particularly impressed by Ukraine, and just when I thought they were going to pull it off, they let it slip. That was my best game of all the games played yesterday. England, Croatia, England won. Raheem Sterling justified his inclusion in the team. A lot of people said he should be kept on the bench. Australia and North Macedonia, Goran Pandev scored, but his team lost.
Yeah.
Netherlands, Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, for Netherlands, Ukraine, I can completely understand why that game was the pick of the bunch for you of the games that played yesterday, because we had a lot of goals in the latter stages of the game. I think Frank de Boer was extremely fortunate that Dumfries is getting them the winning goal eventually. For North Macedonia, they are one of the teams that have gone under the radar. A lot of people expect that they will be the worst team at the tournament. Pandev creating a bit of history, the second oldest goal scorer in the history of the Euros. Coincidentally, the person that owns the record is an Austrian player. He did that against Austria, but I've liked what I've seen so far. We're not going to talk too much about what happened on Saturday, where everybody was a little scared. We're just happy that Christian Eriksen is fine.
Stable condition.
But we've seen some of the games. Austria finally getting a win at the European Championships, and we've seen goals. We've seen really good goals. Yarmolenko scored a fantastic goal. Let's just see more of this, and I'm really excited for the games that we're going to see today.
All right, games for today.
Let's see games for today. I was tempted to ask you about England, but I'll save it for another day. Let's see games for today and see what's going to happen in today's matches. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have Spain and some of the other countries show up.
Today.
Okay,
Scotland, Czech Republic, Poland and Slovakia, and Spain and Sweden, the games to watch out for today on Monday. Now, let's leave Euros and quickly talk about Copa America that we thought wasn't going to hold. Right now, Brazil happens to be the epicenter of pandemic in South America, but they're hosting it. And, of course, Neymar and co.
the president and the Supreme Court, not the people.
Okay.
The president, 3 petitions were thrown out by the court. Even the players were angry that Brazil is hosted, but they didn't want to embarrass their country by pulling out.
Yeah, they talked about the fact that they will play if it goes on, but we all know that they really don't want that particular one to happen.
Their families are in Brazil and all that. So
It's very strange because Argentina and Colombia were supposed to co-host. Colombia was taken off. Argentina was also removed. Colombia, political reasons. Argentina because of COVID issues. And then Brazil that has a worse COVID case than Argentina is the one hosting it now. But I guess, I mean, we see a lot of things in football where money and financial gain are a major reason for decisions.
And while we are talking about it, arguably the best footballer to play the game, Lionel Messi. I said arguably because
before they come for your social media.
The guy is saying, I am here, but I am afraid of contracting COVID.
Because Venezuela players, I mean...
He said, I want to play, but I'm afraid.
12 from their team.
Players and officials combined. Imagine if it was 12 players, won't have had the match. But congratulations, Brazil 3-0. Cecilia talked about Neymar and his cohorts. Goal and assist for Neymar. Colombia also 1-0 against Ecuador. We'll have Chile and Argentina today. Hopefully, Argentina can banish the images of 2015 and 2016
yeah, Chile.
victory today.
All right, so we leave it at that. Hopefully, Messi doesn't get to contract COVID. Because
Okay, before we look
really
at the papers,
scary.
I mean, maybe we just have to take this one out because, we know the crisis going on in AFM. Yes, a faction is actually holding election right now in Kebbi State. Another one will be holding in Abuja. Okay. So that's two. One in Abuja, one in Kebbi. I thought what happened last time won't happen again, but then it's happening again. So we'll wait.
You told us not to talk about it. Recipe for trouble.
My producer actually reminded me.
Recipe for trouble because in the statement the ministry put out, they said the World Athletics is aware of all that they're doing. So I'm surprised to hear that we're going to have in two different...
Yeah, in Kebbi, it's ongoing. In Abuja, it's ongoing. So the team, the ministry dissolved, of course, the AFM board, and of course, they are holding an election in Abuja.
Then the parallel election is
the Guso camp are in
Okay,
Kebbi.
got this in control.
Another one is in control. Our papers now, right? Sporting Sun, quickly.
We just quickly
not for sale.
talk about the headlines.
They've decided that Ndidi is not for sale. They are not selling him. They are not letting him go, no matter the money. Who does that? Complete Sports. Okay, Chelsea urged to make offer for Ndidi. Ndidi is actually dominating everywhere, and Saeed Sam were backed to shine at Rangers.
But I think it's fair, I shall allow you to say something. Do you think he needs to move, or...
There have been a lot of doubts around Ndidi because of his ball-playing abilities. We've seen a lot of the defensive midfielders at the higher clubs, especially in Europe. They are very good, both at breaking up play and on the ball. But I think with what he has done over the past 3-4 seasons, it's high time he left Leicester City for a bigger club. The question is, the bigger clubs in England than Leicester City, are they ready to splash the cash on Ndidi? Because like we said, Leicester City are not going to let him go for cheap.
They're going to wait. Once the money is right, he will leave. But if the money is not right, N'Golo Kante, of course, is at Chelsea. The money was right, and it's good. And if you maybe a club like Manchester United, who, I mean, defense
spent
is really...
80 million on Maguire from this semester.
I mean, they can splash 60.
All right, before we go, last paper for review, Sporting Light. Many interesting stories, but Donnarumma agrees 5-year deal with PSG. I thought this was going to happen earlier. Then Djokovic secures comeback win to clinch French Open. 20 seconds, can you do that? Talk about those two quickly.
All he just needs is to match the Grand Slam title numbers of Nadal and Federer, and he's the greatest of all time. He will do it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
All right, and Donnarumma?
Well, it's a strange one because, I mean, Keylor Navas is still at PSG, but I can understand why PSG are going for Donnarumma. Hopefully he doesn't regret the decision like some young stars who went to PSG and have still not won the Champions League.
Okay, all right. That's a good place to leave it. First, I want to thank Damilo Jusaliu for braving the odds, finding out time to be here with us.
It's always a pleasure to be on Sports this morning.
All right, thank you. Thank you as well for allowing us to be a part of the day. Hope you're enjoying your day, and I hope we're able to brighten up your day in our own little way. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Thanks for watching.